The swept wings of the F-111 Aardvark, with its impressive array of bomb loads and systems, made it an extremely potent aircraft, and may be one of the more unsung heroes that's absolutely battered the Iraqi Republican Guard, and on one night managed to drop 80 GBU-12s, destroying 77 tanks. This is the story of the US Air Force F-111 Aardvark in the 1991 Gulf War. The US Air Force interdiction sorties in Operation El Dorado Canyon in Libya shattered the media's skeptical opinion of the F-111's true combat capability, but by the 1991 Gulf War they would be emphasized further, as the F-111 would be proven to be one of the greats. The F-111s achieved the highest removal rate of Saddam's assets during Desert Storm. The Aardvark was a twin-engined, variable geometry wing aircraft, which could carry a multiple range of ordnance, from laser-guided GBU-12s and GBU-28s to the proven Mark 84 dumb bombs. Laser guidance would be done by the paved tack pod in the central fuselage. Later on in the war, it was suggested that the F-4s would carry laser designators, whilst the F-111 dropped laser-guided munitions, but this never happened. On the first night of Desert Storm on the 17th of January 1991, 40 of the F-111s would be striking several of Iraq's 65 airfields. Here's a list of them struck by F-111s on that night, ones in both Kuwait and Iraq. Airbase Ali Al Salem was heavily defended, and with several SAMs racing past their aircraft, some aircraft had to cancel their locks on buildings and go evasive, though an aircraft did manage to send a GBU-24 straight through the doors of one hangar.
Alright, move it. I'm gonna try. Fire the laser, see if it gets there.
Roger, you got 24 seconds.
Oh shit, somebody hit that one too.
Gotta keep moving it.
Similar experiences came at H3, where Aardvarks were locked onto by MiG-29s and more SAMs. One of the more notable attacks was when a 4-ship Redskin flight F-111Fs roared deep into Iraq at 400 feet and at 540 knots, escorted by 2 EF-111A Ravens. They bombed Saddam's Tikrit Summer Palace using GBU-10s. One bomb went straight through the roof. However, the second missed, third had problems releasing, and the fourth aircraft had to evade a lock from a trailing MiG-29 who ended up chasing the group of Aardvarks for 70 miles. After the first night, a routine was established at their base at Taif, where one flight of F-111Fs would take off during the mid-evening. The second would be up at 1:30 in the morning. Each flight would be meeting up with 6 tankers with 4 aircraft per tanker. They would cross the border with ECM on and lights off, attacking the target from 8 to 20 different locations to confuse the Iraqis. AAA guns were an issue, causing crews to evade them by flying up and down, and in doing so had to turn off their terrain following radar. Sometimes when coming back to Taif there would be heavy fog, which shouldn't have been a problem for the crews at Lakenheath and Upper Hayford. The 20th Tactical Fighter Wing would be based at Turkey at Incirlik Air Base. They'll be allowed to use the base to strike targets in Iraq on the 18th of January, and 4 of their total of 22 F-111Es struck the northern Iraqi radar warning network, making 200-foot approaches with Mark 82 air bombs. Kirkuk nuclear research buildings were also targeted. Sometimes aircraft would be dropping bombs at 25,000 feet. Like in Vietnam, AAA crews would fire at the sound if they couldn't find the aircraft, which as the aircraft was approaching the speed of sound would be increasingly harder to get an accurate hit. However, that would change if the aircraft was backlit by explosions. Later on in the war, the Iraqis would sabotage Kuwaiti oil wells, leaking around 1.2 million barrels of oil into the Gulf every day. This lasted for around 3 days as F-111s dropped GBU-15s on the oil valves, stopping the release of oil into the Gulf. Now for the really interesting part. By January 27th, 10 days into the war, only 25 out of the 800 Iraqi tanks had been destroyed, with half of Saddam's strategic targets still standing. The Iraqis had hidden their tanks in sand, using excellent concealment. Generals had been pressured by the media to hurry up with the ground war, so tanks had to be targeted. Tests in Desert Shield had highlighted that the paved tack was not suited for seeing spaced out tanks, with engines turned off for some time. However, the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing was find a solution to this. By using infrared sensors on the paved tack, solar warmth from the sun could be detected coming off the warm tank hulls, contrasting with the cold desert at night. Iraqis had also turned on their engines to keep warm during the night. This practice was put into action on the 5th of February when two F-111Fs flew at 14,000 feet over the Kuwaiti border and were able to see several Iraqi Republican Guard tanks. They dropped both GBU-12s on 8 of the tanks, with 7 were destroyed. 2 nights later, 40 F-111Fs were sent out to hunt for Iraqi tanks. The wing spent 44% of its time destroying tanks, delivering 2,500 out of 4,666 GBU-12s. A formation of 20 F-111s managed to eliminate 77 targets using 80 GBU-12s. As the Iraqi bunkers were often below 50 feet underground, with 2 feet of concrete slabs over the roof, the coalition needed a bunker-busting bomb. The GBU-24 bunker buster wasn't ready, but by attaching the BLU-113 warhead onto the nose and housing 630 pounds of tritonal explosives in a tube from surplus M201 howitzer barrels, then attaching guidance fins, would create a makeshift bunker-busting bomb. In tests on the 24th of February 1991, bombs could penetrate up to 100 feet of desert. Tests attaching the bomb to a rocket-powered sled on rails proved that the bomb could go through a stack of 22-foot thick steel reinforced slabs and keep going. They were flown out to the Gulf on the 27th of February. F-111s would carry one of these GBU-28s with a single Mark 84 as counterweight. At night they bombed a bunker and observed smoke coming from the vents. They made a massive explosion in the bunker, possibly prompting the Iraqis to surrender the next day, February 28, 1991. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and share. Goodbye. Have a nice day.